The 1950s are often remembered for their vibrant pastel paint colors, their gleaming wraparound windshields, and their sweeping tail fins that seemed ready to touch the space age itself. It was a time when America was filled with optimism, when cars were not just a means of transportation, but symbols of hope and industrial strength. Yet behind that beauty existed a truth few people ever mention. Many cars of this era were far more dangerous than we imagine. Safety technology was still primitive, crash testing was almost non-existent, and manufacturers chased styling more than driver protection engineering. These cars could be captivating in the showroom, but turn into threats on the highway. And in today's list, we will explore 12 models that once made Americans shudder when they looked back. 1955 Ford Thunderbird. When Ford introduced the Thunderbird in 1955, Americans were immediately captivated. This was not a pure sports car, but a style icon. The removable hardtop, the seductive curves, and the strong acceleration from its V8 engine made the Thunderbird feel like a piece of high-speed jewelry. But that allure hit a serious problem. The chassis, based on a shortened Ford full-size platform, lacked torsional rigidity. At high speeds, the front end often developed a slight shake, and noticeable body flex appeared when cornering. The center of gravity was low, but the weight distribution was not properly balanced, making the car prone to instability on curved roads. The small drum brakes were not adequate to control the power of the V8 engine. As the car heated up, brake fade happened quickly, and the stopping distance increased significantly. The Thunderbird also lacked standard seat belts. In period reports, many drivers complained about the steering feeling unresponsive at high speeds, turning sudden maneuvers into a dangerous gamble. 1953 Chevrolet Corvette C1. The first-generation Corvette has always been praised as Chevrolet's bold attempt to create an American-style sports car. Its fiberglass body was unheard of in the automotive industry at the time. It made the Corvette light, agile, and visually distinct from the heavy steel sedans dominating the roads. But that lightness also introduced several risks that turned the car into a challenge for its drivers. The fiberglass body, although modern, was prone to cracking under strong impact. Many drivers of the era reported that even a minor collision was enough to deform the body panels. The thin chassis lacked sufficient torsional rigidity, making the Corvette susceptible to twisting during sharp cornering. The small drum brakes could not effectively handle the increasingly higher speeds on the expanding interstate highways of the mid-1950s. The Blue Flame inline-six engine, though not as powerful as later Corvette engines, combined with an imprecise steering system to create a feeling of wobbliness and poor control. Safety reports from that period recorded numerous loss of control incidents during high-speed, long-distance driving. 1957 Plymouth Belvedere. In 1957, the Plymouth Belvedere arrived as a visual shockwave. Virgil Exner's forward-look design made it one of the most striking cars of its era. The tall tail fins, the aggressive front end, and the sleek bodywork quickly captured America's attention. But that seductive exterior hid several issues that made the car dangerous in real-world driving conditions. The Belvedere's steering system had significant play. Drivers often had to turn the wheel more than usual before the front tires responded. This created a delayed, vague feel and made it difficult to keep the car straight at high speeds. The car was fairly heavy, yet the drum brakes were small, prone to overheating, and likely to fade during long downhill stretches. Under hard braking, the Belvedere often pulled to one side because the braking force was not evenly distributed. The soft suspension was designed to deliver a smooth ride, but it caused the Belvedere to sway noticeably when cornering. On rough roads, the large, tall body became even more unstable. Many drivers of the time described controlling the Belvedere as trying to steer a heavy boat on pavement. 1954 Nash Metropolitan. The Nash Metropolitan was one of the most interesting cars of the 1950s. It was small, cute, and carried a distinctly European style in a U.S. market that preferred large automobiles. The Metropolitan was advertised as the ideal city car, but its very small size became the source of several dangers that buyers of the era rarely recognized. The Metropolitan was extremely light compared to typical American cars. This made it easily pushed offline by strong crosswinds on the highway. Its short wheelbase and simple suspension caused the car to hop and bounce over rough patches of road, creating instability when cornering. The small engine was not the main issue, but the imprecise steering made the car difficult to control at higher speeds. The thin body offered almost no crumple zone to absorb impact forces in a collision. The energy transferred directly into the passenger compartment. Later evaluations showed that the Metropolitan protected occupants worse than most other compact cars in the United States. Its side impact resistance was particularly poor. 1953 Ford Anglia 100E. The Ford Anglia 100E emerged as an economical solution for those who wanted a small, compact car in the 1950s. Its rounded shape and modest dimensions made the Anglia easy to maneuver through crowded city streets. But the simplicity of its design also brought several limitations that made it one of the most difficult cars of its era to control. The narrow front track and primitive rack and pinion steering system created a noticeable lack of precision. At moderate speeds, the front wheels tended to wander, forcing the driver to make constant steering corrections to keep the car in its lane. The drum brakes on all four wheels made the situation even worse. With their small diameter and tendency to fade when hot, stopping distances were often longer than expected. The Anglia was lightweight, which helped with fuel economy, but it made the car unstable in strong crosswinds. When cornering, the high center of gravity combined with the narrow body created a rollover risk during sharp turns. Many drivers described piloting an Anglia as trying to keep a matchbox upright in a strong gust of wind. 1955 Chevrolet Task Force Truck. When Chevrolet introduced the Task Force truck line in 1955, it was considered a major leap forward in the world of light-duty pickups. The more modern design, the new small-block F8 engine, and its impressive hauling capability made it a popular choice for farmers, construction workers, and small businesses across the United States. But behind that tough exterior was safety issues that drivers of the era often realized only when it was too late. The task force's cabin had an extremely simple structure, offering almost no crumple zone to absorb impact forces. In a frontal collision, the entire force transferred directly into the passenger compartment, placing the occupants in serious danger. The drum brakes on all four wheels were not proportional to the power and load the truck could carry. When loaded heavily or traveling down long slopes, the brakes overheated easily and could completely lose effectiveness. The frame was sturdy, but when overloaded, cracks often developed at stress points. The unassisted steering system made low-speed maneuvering difficult, while at higher speeds it lacked precision, creating a persistent sense of instability. 1950 Oldsmobile 88. The early 1950s Oldsmobile 88 was considered one of the most powerful cars Americans could buy. The 303 Ci and Rocket 5F8 engine was a technical marvel of its time. It delivered exceptional acceleration and became the foundation for Oldsmobile's dominance in many local racing events. But that power far exceeded the capabilities of the chassis and steering system, creating dangerous situations for everyday drivers. The Oldsmobile 88 steering system had a pronounced tendency to understeer. When cornering at moderate speeds, the front wheels often pushed outward. making the car's reactions difficult for the driver to predict. This was especially dangerous on mountain roads or in sequences of tight curves. The small drum brakes could not cope well with high-speed driving, overheating easily and losing effectiveness. The car's considerable weight meant that under hard braking, its stopping distance was noticeably longer than many of its contemporaries. The narrow bias ply tires reduced grip when cornering or traveling on wet surfaces. Many drivers of the era reported that the 88 delivered strong performance, but was easier to lose control of than people realized. With the Rocket Viv 8's power, even small mistakes could lead to major risks. 1955 Dotto Fireflight. This was one of the most striking Chrysler designs of the 1950s. Its long body, graceful tail fins, and sharp front end made the Firefly stand out in any showroom. The Hemi 8 engine delivered impressive power, turning the car into a symbol of luxury blended with speed. But that combination also exposed several serious safety shortcomings. The Firefly's frame was heavy, but lacked the necessary torsional rigidity. At high speeds, the body tended to flex slightly, creating a sense of instability. The early power-assisted steering system provided very poor feedback, making it difficult for the driver to feel the road surface during sudden cornering. The Firefly's heavy rear end was prone to swinging out, producing unexpected oversteer. The Firefly's drum brakes were not proportional to the car's weight and power. Brake fade occurred quickly during long highway drives or repeated braking. Inside the cabin, the large metal steering wheel and rigid dashboard posed a high risk of severe injury in the event of a collision. The 1955 Fireflight stands as a reminder of an era when beauty and horsepower were given priority, while safety was treated as a secondary concern. 1955 Packard Clipper. The Packard Clipper was seen as Packard's bold attempt at reinvention during the fierce competition between Cadillac and Lincoln. Its torsion-level suspension technology was a unique advancement. This system used torsion bars combined with an automatic leveling mechanism to deliver exceptional ride comfort. But that modernity also brought several risks that customers never anticipated. The torsion level's automatic adjustment relied on an electric motor and mechanical sensors. When any of these components malfunctioned, the entire body could tilt severely to one side or rise and fall uncontrollably. Some reported cases noted that the car suddenly changed height while traveling at high speed, causing the driver to lose control entirely. Because the Clipper was quite heavy, the drum brake system was frequently overloaded. During repeated braking, fade occurred quickly. Combined with the body's unexpected tilting, this became a recipe for dangerous situations. The early power steering system was also imprecise, making emergency corrections difficult. The Packard Clipper was a car driven by ambitious engineering, but it was not refined enough to ensure safety on the open road.